So the last video was abruptly cut off. We were left off talking about the Ritz-Carlton. I had a question. My question would have been twofold. The Ritz-Carlton is one of, as you can see here, I showed you in the last video, one of the most expensive hotels in the chain. And the reason is because of their high-end amenities. With properties and suites costing thousands of dollars per night. It's a luxury hotel brand known for its upscale properties, impeccable services, and again, high-end amenities. Prices vary greatly depending on location, time of year, and specific room or suite. Ritz-Carlton properties generally command higher rates than many other hotels. And if you look at that line at the bottom, it says some Ritz-Carlton suites can cost upwards of $10,000 per night. This is where he stayed last year for one night. And it cost the members of our organization around the Midwest, when he came to stay in Chicago, that's just one city, along with other cities, that if he does not have a parsonage to reside in on that night, then the congregations are expected to pay for his hotel lodging. This is a part of what I was touching on in the last video. Remember that term, inurement. Inurement. Inurement is the unauthorized use of company assets for your own benefit. And when an individual or board member using the things that belong to the organization without authorization for their personal use. In this case, this would also cross the line into personal benefit. Now, the fact that he's in office as the leader allows him to make laws, to put in the supreme bylaws or the auxiliary bylaws. And again, these two books are now these two books. And this is in the last video as well. Now, the problem is here that when they change these laws, they can add anything they want. And keep in mind, this is 22. Keep in mind that in this Constitution, 2009, even though there's challenges in this one that we need to change, there is no list, okay? There is no list that talks about an order of precedence. There's no list that talks about an order of precedence, okay? Nothing in here that talks about an order of precedence. However, and in the back. But you see the name here and the name here. This is the name today that I'm talking about, and it's for violations in this book all over the place, why he's now preparing, we're now preparing to remove him as the leader for violating the laws in this book. Right now, he's ignoring these videos and the truth and the facts of the statements and the things that I'm stating as I initiated a list of violations concerning he and his crew and what they're doing in the organization. Now he's continuing to travel around the organization, even though he's supposed to be suspended until he's brought forward a trial. So I'm in the midst of doing some things so that I can do some other things that I will be bringing to you all's attention so that we can take care of bringing him forward to trial. Since obviously there's nobody within the entire leadership that's abiding by the Constitution or the regulations and the laws of the 501c3 as it pertains to federal regulations or state regulations. But this is a problem here. Okay? In this book, The Order of Precedence. And I showed this in the last, not the last one, but the video before this last one. And you see here, it touches on the supreme laws for the government of the United House of Prayer. Okay? This is how this works. The supreme laws. Now, in the supreme laws, you'll see in Article 20, Article 26. Okay? Article 26. Look at what it says. The organization shall provide transportation for the bishop. Now, I wrote on here Maybachs and Rolls Royces, question mark. Now, by that being put there, that means the leader of the organization, he has been able, once again, to take the money that's raised in here by the people and spend it frivolously, however he chooses, on whatever it is that he wants, without any accountability, without answering to anybody, without telling you what he's spending it on, without telling you how much he's spending, without telling you where he's spending, without telling you how he's spending. And as a result, we see, again, another building project that we, the people, we didn't know about this. We didn't agree to this. We didn't decide on this. We didn't approve of this. We didn't authorize this. We certainly didn't give him the go ahead with a green light to go set up this deal in the first place. So the reason I'm saying this is because under that 501c3, that is a huge problem, because the 501c3, they need to know what is your mission? What is your purpose? What is the purpose of your organization? Without a purpose or without a mission, if the people have no idea what the mission is of a nonprofit, then the people will be standing there lost and confused while they continue to pour in their money and give. The way it's supposed to work is just a few people, like on a school board or a homeowners association or Congress. You see these people over here? These are the people representing the rest of the people. This would be your board members. Their job is to look after all the other people. That few people over here on the school board, they look after all the people who has students going to school in their districts or their jurisdiction. The homeowners association, the handful of people, that little teeny tiny group that comes and sit at that little table, they look after the best interests of the people who own homes in their jurisdiction. They're looking out for their best interest and their welfare. They're not taking those people's dues and looking out for themselves. Congress, their job, when they're hired by the people, the ones who come forward and who elect them, they vote and they elect them, just like they have nominations at the conventions, no matter which party it is, Republican or Democratic National Convention, they come forward with a nomination. That nomination goes forward to be elected. When they elect these people, and normally I just spoke about presidents, Republicans and Democrats, they'll nominate a candidate to be elected for president. Congressmen, senators, the people that elect them, who vote for them, these are called your constituents. Because when they go to work in Congress, they're supposed to be there to represent the people who voted for them to go there. They're supposed to look out for their welfare. So the ones who voted for them to go there and talk about law, pass law, discuss legislation. Well, the ones who put you there, they're called your constituents because you're there to protect them according to the Constitution and look out for their best interest. The members of our organization, we have a constitution, and you are supposed to understand that when you elect somebody in a position of office, that person that you elected, they work for you. You are their boss, and you get to vote them out just like you voted them in. Those individuals are called board members. Remember, I talked about this before. The people that are in Congress, they get to also have discussions about the actions and the behavior of the CEO of the United States, the chief executive officer, which is the president. Just like a company has a president who's the CEO, the country has a president who's the CEO of the country, and the board of directors, Congress, who's sent there by the people in each state. We have our own Congress or General Assembly, who's sent there by the people in each house. They're there to keep an eye on the president. Congress, they keep an eye on and check up on the president. They get to question him. They get to expose him if necessary. They get to do that. And we, the people, we get to do this. We get to ask questions. What's going on? And why is it that the leader of our organization has been taking our money when we give it to them? The people giving it to them freely. But after you give it to them, the question is, what are they going to do with it? And we're supposed to understand that because we're supposed to know what the mission is. We're supposed to understand what our purpose is. But when the people don't understand what the mission is and what the purpose is, then all of a sudden you end up with CEOs. You have company officers that's sitting back looking pretty in the big house. And our leader is sitting back looking pretty in the big house. And while they're doing that, the people are just left dumbfounded. And sometimes they might get upset. And by getting upset, they'll ask themselves, wait a minute, what are we doing? I have so many questions. Who can I go to ask my questions? Where can I find out? Because I keep wondering when I see this member over here and that member over here, they have a problem. But no one is attending to the needs of the people. No one is attending to the needs of anything. I keep talking about Miami. We were down in Miami, not this past weekend, but the weekend prior to that weekend. And for those of you who don't know, we had 4 of our buses that broke down. 4. Now, this is not our bus, but 4 of our buses broke down on their way to Miami. The members had to sit on that bus for hours and hours, sitting on the side of the road while waiting. Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 of our buses could not make the trip to Miami because it was malfunctioning. 4 of our buses, packed with our members, broke down on the side of the road, and our members had to sit there and wait. Wait until they could get relief. Phone calls were not made to get somebody there and get them off the side of the highway. They had paid the adults $183 a piece per seat out of DC. 50 to 55 seats on each bus to make their way to Miami. Because in their mind, they get to do this. They get to give their money and not know where the money's going. not know what the money is for, not know the purpose that the money is being spent on. We have, again, examples of inurement and self-benefit. Because once again, whenever you have a leader who gets to write his own ticket and put things in the supreme law, just like I showed you that right there, the organization shall provide transportation for the bishop. The organization. But the organization does not necessarily have to buy $2, $3, $4, $500,000 vehicles. Transportation is transportation. But we have 2, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 3. I'm not sure about 3. Maybe 3. But I know we got 2 Maybachs now that the leader is riding in. Now somebody may say, yeah, but one of those Maybachs or both of those Maybachs were purchased out of the money that came out of his pocket. I beg to differ with you. Why would a leader spend, what is this? Maybach Guard custom option. This says that Maybach is over $500,000. That's over $500,000 for this car. Why would anybody in their right mind, and hopefully our leaders are in their right mind, there's some question about that at times, but hopefully they are in their right mind, at least for the most part, most of the time. But why would somebody spend $200,000 to $500,000 of their own dollars when there's a clause in the supreme laws? And yes, it was carried over to this one, the new one. That was Article 26. Article 26. Yes. It's listed here. And the new one, the new book, right here. The organization shall provide transportation for the bishop. Now, if the bishop, he wrote this, or somebody else wrote it, he approved it. And this. So he gets to write his own meal ticket. Not only did he write that in here, we're going to pay him every single time he goes to service. Now, here's a question. How many times does the bishop go to service? The bishop goes to service whenever he feels like it. Well, on his way from Miami, he was in Miami Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and the weekend before. And then Monday went up to Jacksonville. Tuesday, he was in Savannah. Wednesday, he was in Augusta. Thursday, he was in Columbia. If I'm not mistaken. Friday, he might have somewhere else. But then the weekend, Charlotte, Saturday, Sunday. Tonight, he's in Salisbury, North Carolina. By the way, he had said while he was in Miami that I was a coward. Took the opportunity to stand at the rostrum, the pulpit, where the word is supposed to be delivered, and talked about YouTube videos, internet, people coming on, myself being a coward. I responded by saying, okay, well, if I'm a coward, then that means you want me to come out to face you. No problem. You set a time, you set a place, and I've said this before, where we can meet, we can talk face to face in front of all the members of the organization. You set it up. Let me know when, let me know where. I will come out, give me the microphone, and you have the mic. Let us meet face to face. You ask me questions, and I will ask you questions. And allow the people to determine who they're going to believe. You see, these videos, I'm giving facts. I've already told the people when I started making these videos, don't believe nothing I say. Look at the information, listen to what I present on here, look at the evidence that I provide, and then make a determination for yourself based on the evidence that I've supported the claims that I'm making with. Therefore, people know that what I'm saying is to be truth and factual. It is truth and facts. It is not nonsense. Yesterday, while in Charlotte, on Sunday, not Saturday, on Sunday, while getting ready to close out the service, started not even closing out, calling down names. You said something about people not paying attention to that nonsense on the internet. These videos he's referring to as nonsense. The problem is also with the videos I've presented, book, chapter, and verse, scripture, Holy Scripture, references to the Word. And I've shown, according to the Scripture, why nobody should be referring to you or anybody else as their father and other flaws within our organization. Those same flaws that I myself used to teach. I now understand we're not supposed to be doing any of that. Anyway, I was called a coward, and I said the following day in a video, set up a time and a place. Anybody tell him. I'm sure no one had to tell him because he's watching the videos too. You watch the videos. So he left Miami, went to Jacksonville, again, Savannah, Augusta, Columbia, and Charlotte for 2 nights. So you had a week to think about what I had said. You could have told anyone at any time, even put out on the microphone, let Brother Lewis know I'm on my way to Charlotte. Come out Saturday night and we'll give 30 minutes, an hour. We'll set time aside so that we can talk in front of the members so that they can determine for themselves who's telling the truth and who's lying, so that the people can see who's telling the truth and who's lying. The fact of the matter is the man that's traveling around in the organization, he's afraid of me. He's afraid to confront me. He's afraid to face me because he knows that I'm telling the truth. As I said before, he cannot say that God or Jesus is his witness because he knows that he is lying through his teeth over and over and over again. Many, 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 many times about many things. Now, I'm not making this video personal. I'm expounding on the subject so that everybody understands the need and the importance of watching these videos. Whenever you have in person an individual that stands up in your organization or your institution and call foul play, throw a flag out. Foul. Stop the clock. We need to look into this. I have paused. My wife has stopped. We've paused so that we can look into this, so that we can find out what in the world. Because as members of the organization, we are like a shareholder of an organization. We are part owners. The CEO is an employee. He's supposed to work for the people. He's not supposed to take the opportunity to put his hands on the organization and control it. And can't nobody do anything, nobody say anything, nobody question anything, just sit there and do exactly what he says. I'm going to show you in the next video. I'm going to allow you to hear him say, next video right after this, I am going to change things without a meeting. Your job is to do it. This is the CEO The employee telling the boss, the employer. Okay. Anyway, I'm a coward. So that's what I said. That's what I initiated so that it could be seen by the world, potentially. Right now, these videos are being watched in 14 other countries besides the United States. 14 other countries. And there's people all over now. I get to say this. We get to do this. We get to fix this. And people get to hear this, that our leader is completely corrupt. And the only thing he's doing is going from state to state, city to city, congregation to congregation to take the money. That is all. That is it. So we see the laws where the bishop has written books to give power to himself and a handful of other men, and then he attached this power with this book. He attached the power that he has by putting them in this book. This is the only book that he does not have in the Constitution. Now I'm going to show y'all how this works. I keep saying that. How all of this stuff works in the law of the land. Now, I'm going to do that now. Sometimes y'all see my wheels turning in the videos. Let's see. So that you all understand what's going on with these laws, how the courts look at these laws, what happens. Now, this is all public. This is all public information. I did a little bit of digging. This took maybe 5-10 minutes to find out this. Anyway, look at this. Okay. Take a picture. Pause. You can even pause the screen. And as you can see, this is the tax court of New Jersey. Why are they in the tax court of New Jersey? Because the 501c3 covers non-taxed companies. They're tax exempt in some areas of the company. Okay? Nonprofit under 501c3 means they have a tax exempt status. They are non-taxed companies, as long as they comply with the regulations and the rules and the laws of the state concerning the 501c3. So here we are. The house of prayer is in court. Okay. I'll even put it this way so that you can see it even better. You see the date, May the 11th, 2022. Okay. That was just before I and my wife found out, wait a minute, we have some problems here in our organization because they're not supposed to be doing what they're doing in the General Assembly. So we started looking into this. Okay. Now, this is a document, a court document. I'm going to swipe over and freeze. Pay attention. Now, what do you see? I'm going to read it. It has the United House of Prayer for All People of the Church on the Rock of the Apostolic Faith was incorporated in the District of Columbia on June 20th, 1927. It was incorporated. That means they are a corporation. Now, a lot of times people don't understand the words that we're using. Many times people have no idea about the words that you're using. This is why there's a very famous statement that says a person that represents themselves in court, they have a fool for a client. Because if you don't study law, then you better not enter that arena with individuals who understand how words work. Every single word is important. That is why there is a stenographer, an individual in the court that's typing every single word you say. What do police say when they're reading Miranda rights? You have the right to remain silent. Every single word that you use, it can and it will be held against you in a court of law. Now, court of law, that's where it just got real. You can say anything you want outside. You can do anything you want outside. But you will be held accountable for your actions when you are dragged into court. You have to stand there and you have to answer questions. Why did you X, Y, Z? Just like our laws in the House of Prayer says that when our leader does wrong or does not comply with the laws, if he breaks the laws, then the General Assembly has the right and the authority to remove a bishop for a cause. But they have to bring him there first, and they have to try him first in a trial. Okay. He's doing everything he can to avoid that because he knows that if we have a trial, the day that we have a trial, he is done. And all those men around him, the general counsel, the pastors, every single one of them singing and chanting and trying to get y'all to like him, love him, please support him, lift him up, lift him up, lift him up. They're working against you. They're working with him. They're psyching you out and they're looking at you like you are a fool. They're using you because they know that you don't know the game that's being played right in front of your very eyes. It's all about the money. And many of those men standing up there telling you to raise your hand high to heaven and do all these things and say all these things about that man up there saying that he's the only man on the planet that God and Jesus is using and talking to, and you better listen to them because if you don't, God himself is going to get you. You have to be smarter than that. You have to be smarter than that. This is why there are laws here. Again, they make these laws. The bishop, in fact, it's not even really the bishop. Not really. Not really. There's somebody else that is doing some stuff along with the bishop. And that person is up on the mountain along with the bishop. Lady D has been writing a lot of things in the organization, to the organization, for the organization to follow. And the organization, the members here, have no clue that a lot of this stuff has been coming from her. This is why on page, are you aware? 47, page 47, down here. I'm going to pause. Okay. Now, it says official website. D. Website guidelines for the state chairman and local pastors. D. You cannot create, setting up, or using www services to market, advertise, or sell any items, products, trip packages, so on and so forth. This could jeopardize our tax exempt status. Okay? They're talking about jeopardizing their tax exempt status. Now, they don't want stuff to be on public websites. And they don't want the members to be on public websites because they don't want the members to know what's going on in the real world. Now, where was I going with that court order? The court order in that second page, remember I showed it to you and I put it up one more time. But what's in the court order? It says that the House of Prayer was incorporated June 20th, 1927. In its Articles of Incorporation filed under the Charitable, Educational, and Religious Association chapter of the corporation's title of the District of Columbia, plaintiffs' stated purpose is to establish, maintain, and perpetuate the doctrine of Christianity and the apostolic faith throughout the world among all people. To erect and maintain houses of prayers, it says exactly what is written in this. It says exactly what's written in this. And then it goes on to say here, read this sentence at the top. Okay. In 1964, the Internal Revenue Service recognized plaintiff as exempt from federal income tax under 501c3 of the Internal Revenue Code. Plaintiff's Constitution and bylaws were originally adopted on July 1st, 1929, and were amended from time to time. Article 7, Section 5 of the Constitution and bylaws, Article 7, Article 7, Section 5 of the Articles of the Constitution bylaws provide that look at it here. It's in a court document. The bishop shall hold the property of all of the organization as trustee for the use and benefit of such congregations. Further, Article 11, Section 1 provides that property purchased by any minister or other persons, it's in a court document. Now, how did this get inside of a court document? Look at this. This is another page of the same document. I'll pause so you can read it. Okay? In this court document, it says, it is frequently difficult for a draftsman of legislation to anticipate all situations and to measure his words against them. This is why people pass exams so that they can become approved by the state in order to practice law, in order to practice medicine, right? There's certain things that you get to practice as a profession because no one will ever get it exactly one way, right, accurate. It's this way and only this way. No, because you're using words and a conjunction of words, an assembling of words. You get to drop a word, move a word, replace a word, take out a word, get rid of a word, revise a word. This is why they have a constitutional revision committee that the bishops secretly put together, is so that they could take words out of the Constitution that the members know about and add words into the Constitution that the members don't know about in order to take powers away from the members of the organization and give those same powers to the leader of the organization, known as the CEO, or they can give those powers to a General Assembly secretary. They can give those powers to these people who are appointed by the bishop and be setting up on a general council. He's taking all these powers from the people by taking words out of the Constitution and putting new words in there behind the people's back. That's why the Constitution says no one can ever revise the Constitution or amend the Constitution, change the Constitution, fix the Constitution. You can't do anything to the Constitution. It must be done by the people in the General Assembly and those people only, not by the bishop or his makeshift, backdoor, secret dealt group of people who's getting paid under the table that the people don't know anything about. And now we have a court document that shows the importance of this little teeny tiny book that every single member of the organization needs to understand, so that this leader who has absolutely lost his mind and gone rogue said yesterday in Charlotte, trust in God, trust in God, trust in God. I trust in God. I put my trust in God. How in the world can you trust in God? How can, if you are not doing what the scripture says you're supposed to be doing, then you are not the individual who's supposed to be saying trust in God. I recall, I'm sorry, I had to take care of something real quick. I recall Psalms 1:1. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful, nor standeth in the way of sinners. His delight is in the law of the Lord, and on it doth he meditate day and night. People who serve him are law-abiding citizens, not law breakers. You and your crew has been breaking the law. And now you're running around the organization trying to get as much money as you can out of the people, while the authorities have not yet come to do what the authorities are going to come and do. Telling the people to trust in God is to admit your guilt. I'm going to say that again. Telling the people to trust in God is to admit your own guilt. By not telling the people to tell him I'm on my way. Tell Brother Lewis I'll see you in Charlotte. I'm on my way. Tell him bring his Bible. I will see him there. I'm just a member of the organization. Mr. Cunningham, you are calling yourself by a title that you know you are not supposed to be walking under. You are saying you're the bishop. If you are the CEO let's change this whole thing. Let's talk about Nabisco Incorporated. If you are the CEO of Nabisco, Oreo cookies, I think, is under Nabisco. If you are the CEO of Nabisco, first of all, would Nabisco allow you to put your name on their property, the company property? No, I don't think so. Would Nabisco allow you to set your own pay scale and tell them, the corporate executives at Nabisco, no, I'm going to write my own check. I got this, thank you. Once y'all made me the CEO, y'all sit back. I got this. I got this. In fact, all of you Nabisco execs, y'all just sit there. I'm going to take care of everything from now on. All of the company assets, they're mine. They're mine, since I'm the CEO. For those of you who don't understand, members of the House of Prayer, whenever he says, like he did in Miami, he said, pick up my children. The CEO, you just got elected, and now all of the members of the organization belong to you. My children. He said, pick up my children. My. Look out for that word, my. Because when you go to court, the court is going to hold every word you speak against you. You said everything was yours. The buses have your name on them. You claim them to be yours, putting your name on it. You have uniforms with the bus drivers, Cunningham on the uniform. It's yours. Your godson is in Washington at 601 M Street, that you said you prayed and it was shown to you to put him there. He changed the name of Washington, the District of Columbia, to the District of Cunningham, indicating subconsciously, psychologically, mentally, you are literally, even if it is figurative, telling the members of the organization that this is Cunningham's district. He owns this. Your words have power and they have meaning. You admit that you're guilty by telling the members of the House of Prayer to trust in God. The members of the House of Prayer didn't do anything wrong. They didn't break the laws. Well, not knowingly. You did. These videos are not about the members of the House of Prayer being out of line. These videos are about you being out of line, as well as your counsel. That's why it's called your counsel, the Cunningham General Counsel. All of you auxiliaries putting his name in front of it, that's how he's going to get into more trouble. Because putting his name in front of the name of your auxiliary, you're telling people outside the organization that you belong to him. This is the Cunningham choir. This is the Cunningham band. So what happens whenever a CD is sold? What happens whenever a DVD is sold? It's Cunningham's program. So since it's Cunningham's program and you're purchasing DVDs and it has the program on it, well, then now the money that's being generated from the DVD sales, that money belongs to who? The money that's being generated from the CD sales with the choirs and the bands, that money belongs to who? See, I keep telling... My people perish for lack of knowledge. There's so very much that we need to talk about so that we can help the members of the organization stop. These videos are not nonsense. the members still traveling behind him and supporting what he's doing, that is nonsense. Show you something. This right here. This video is, again, about the 501c3. And this video, take a picture, pause frame. This video is asking a question. What is your purpose? What is the mission? Who are you serving? What is the need that you're meeting? Who are you helping? Why are you, as a nonprofit, asking for a tax exemption? What is that purpose? We get to do this, the t-shirt that the young lady was wearing in Miami that I showed you in the picture. What is this that the people of the House of Prayer get to do? This is giving money. Let me show you. Not only in Miami were they using the digital platform that they said here not to use. See, this is why I wrote this on here, because the things that they're telling the members not to do is what they're doing. And they know they're doing it. Right here. You see this? The bishop staff does it. And read this right here. Do not solicit House of Prayer funds on any social media. Use of email and social media to transact United House of Prayer business is prohibited. It is a violation for any member to conduct House of Prayer business using email or social media. This executive order includes, but is not limited to, soliciting, advertising, or promoting the business affairs of the United House of Prayer or the bishop. Any member found guilty of violating this order will be investigated by the State Council, and if found guilty, will be fined and or discharged from their duties. The statement above it, House of Prayer members are discouraged from using websites such as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and other social media platforms, except if required by your employers or departments of education. Anyone found guilty will be subject to a fine and maybe other punishment. Well, again, why? But this says that any member found guilty of violating this order will be investigated by the State Council, and if found guilty, will be fined and or one or the other. They will at least be discharged. It says fined and or discharged from their duties, which means they're at least going to get discharged. They're at least going to get fined. They're going to get fined or discharged. Or they're going to get fined and discharged. No, I'm sorry. They're at least going to get discharged. They may get fined also. So much on my mind. But they're going to get discharged from their duties. Well, what I just read, listen to who this comes from. Peace to all. I am writing from Charlotte, and there is a new program, No Child Left Behind. Addie Cunningham tonight said that he was thinking, what if every adult did what they did in Addie's club and then helped a child get into Addie's club? Apostle Taylor and I got to thinking. First of all, he's saying that Mr. Cunningham said, well, all these adults, y'all need to get in Addie's club. And what if after y'all get there, y'all help the children get in Addie's club? Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something? Apostle Taylor, the pastor at 601 M Street, And I got to thinking, he says, what if DC and Zion did it for May? What if we can go back to Washington and we can get the people in DC, the District of Cunningham? What if we can get the people to get in Addie's Club, all these adults, and then we want to get the children in Addie's Club, get them to give $2,000 a piece, all the adults, as many as who's willing, who's still participating with the program, and then all the children, y'all try and get them too. Try and get the children on Addie's Club, every single one of them. You give $2,000 for yourself, you give $2,000 for the child, $4,000 for these adults. Put it in the house of prayer. Put it on Addie's Club. And get as many on Addie's Club as possible. Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something? He says, then we got to thinking. We are all Add's children. So that really means this is a call for all of Zion, all of DC. If you make the club or don't usually make the club, Add is looking for us all to show up this May. You see how they twist these words and they take these things, and he knows what he's doing. He's putting stuff out there for these men like Murray and Taylor and Commodore and Lattisaw and Rodney and Monroe and these other men to come out there and promote. Get the people to give. Why? Because they have the impression that we get to do this. We get to do this. We get to do this. We get to give our money. We get to throw him our money. We get to constantly get more money. So I got one question, he says. Who is ready to show Add Zion isn't leaving a single solitary child behind? This is how these cheerleaders, that's all they are, male cheerleaders. They're just male cheerleaders going back to cheer the people, get the people hyped up. Can I get a C? C? Can I get a U? U? Can I get a later? See you later for this. Because this is the nonsense. Not these videos. It's this. And all the members still supporting this. Broke. I'm going to play a recording also tomorrow. I think. If not tonight. It shows him telling the people, I know some of y'all lost jobs. But he's still going to provide. He's going to provide. We're going to get there. He said, even those of us without a child, those of us who don't have children, we don't have children. If you reach back and help one, while we get in also, let's go to another level. Talk soon. Apostle Dr. L. Murray, President of Presidents. They call it the White House. Zion District of Columbia, District of Cunningham. But according to this rule, the pastor that I read about a few days ago, that pastor who sent out text messaging to the members telling them that let's get out for 8 o'clock prayer and a powerful testimony service so that we can give an awesome love gift. You're using social media to solicit money for House of Prayer business or for the bishop's business. You're soliciting money over social media platforms to solicit funds for House of Prayer, the raffles, the rallies, door prizes. Even when you post those digital posters all over Facebook, you're advertising so that you can get people to travel to a House of Prayer event to give their money. That is a solicitation of funds. You can't do that. When you use that media, that platform, like that pastor did, and Apostle Dr. Murray here, you just used social media to solicit money for the bishop. The Addie's Club, that's G-Class. That's convocation. That's house of prayer business. The law says that both of you two and all of those other pastors that's doing it and allowing it, the law says that they are to be brought before the council and they are to be fined and or dismissed. I guarantee you all, you will not see that pastor dismissed. You will not see Murray dismissed from their positions. Dismissed means they're supposed to be removed. I'm guaranteeing you that they will not be removed. You know why? He even used Taylor's name, the pastor at 601 Elm Street. They got to thinking. And there are things like this that even Mr. Taylor sent out using social media to solicit funds. But I guarantee you they will not be relieved from their positions. You know why? Because the leader is corrupt. The general counsel is corrupt. Just as corrupt as those men. And the purpose that they have them out front is to excite the people so that they can take their money. Bringing us back to the point of the video. The beginning of the last video, I showed the question being asked. What is the purpose? What is the mission? What role do we play and how are we helping society? Anyone in society while we're doing what we're doing, why is it that these things are not being played? We're going to fix that. Anyway, my son. But why is it that we're doing what we're doing? And none of the members can answer that. So here's the thing. You are literally being told to travel all around the organization, to go here, to go there, to come in to these congregations and listen to choirs and bands while they take your money. That's what y'all get to do. Those who are still supporting him, that's what y'all get to do. Y'all get to give your money. That's all. While that money is being used without you knowing what it is for, where it's going, how he's spending it, while he's using it for his own personal benefit. The same way he's spending millions of dollars to build apartment complexes and shopping centers and retail stores and other places of business that is not benefiting the members of the House of Prayer. You don't even have no say so. But all he wants you to do is come, and he send those cheerleaders out there in the front of the floor and get you to yell his name. See, somebody asked me, I'm going to say this, we can close this out. This really bothers me. It gets under my skin because we have people in need. We have people that are going to other nonprofit organizations. Some of these chairmen, some of these so-called apostles are giving members in need a list of other nonprofit organizations for them to go to and knock on their door and ask them for help. While the people, the members of the House of Prayer, are dumping their money in here, when it's time for them to come and get the assistance that they need, there's nobody in the House of Prayer that's helping. There's no one in the House of Prayer that's helping. There's no one in the House of Prayer that's helping. And as a result, the members continue to end up in positions of need. And when they're in a position of need, there's nobody there to fulfill that need. Here, page 10. Page 10. Look at this right here. Number 5. It says, as the bishop is the trustee for the organization, he will not make loans. Individuals must refrain from asking for loans. So I have a question. The bishop, as the trustee, will not make loans. So how is it that he bought that pastor a house? How is it that the last leader, the last CEO, bought a pastor a house? A few pastors, they bought houses. But other pastors are sleeping in the office of the house of prayer, homeless, going to homeless shelters to get food. How is it that we have ministers that's over a congregation living in houses of prayers, no place to go, no income, nothing to support them, can't even feed themselves because they have no help, no money, no assistance from these district chairmen, from the state chairman, from the council, or from the bishop himself, nothing to help them. And time again, we've had ministers who sleeping in the house of prayers that the members know absolutely about because they are homeless. And they're there to help the organization. They're there to help serve the bishop because they too are indoctrinated and don't know any better. Why is it that the bishop is collecting all this money coming from the people and the people willingly giving it? Y'all remember this picture? Just giving it, only for him to sit back and he's laughing. While y'all giving, he's laughing. He's not doing anything in return for nobody. What is the purpose of the organization? It's supposed to be to establish, to erect, and maintain houses of prayers. Do you see houses of prayers being built? We see houses of prayers going down. The maintenance is horrible. Members have been sitting in the kitchens having services in the wintertime because they have the oven turned on to heat the room that they're in. Air conditioning broken for years. People, it's time to wake up, and it gets under my skin. Somebody asked me a question. Who would I recommend? Because he's getting ready to be removed. Who would I recommend? I don't see nobody that I personally would put there. I've gotten so upset with all this stuff that's going on, and it's not personal, but I've gotten upset with all these things going on, and while I've dodged that question. Anyway, no pastor. If I had my say, no pastor would be homeless. No member would be homeless. These band members, they'd be able to play outside. They'd be able to keep the money that they're earning from using their skill outside. The choir members, the money that is being made from the sales of CDs, why can't that money go back to them? Why is it that they need to pay for their own robes? Why is it that the band members need to pay for their own uniforms in the marching bands? Why do they have to pay for their own instruments? Why is it that when they travel to represent the organization, do they have to pay their own travel expense? Why is it that they have to pay for their own food? Why is it that they have to pay for their own hotel lodging? And that's another problem. Because when the bishop tells the members of the organization where to go and travel and what hotels to stay in the coalition, whenever you, as a member of the House of Prayer, get a room through the coalition of the House of Prayer, every single dollar that you pay for that room through the House of Prayer coalition, I've said before, for those of you who don't know, every single one of those points used through that hotel coalition goes to the bishop. He gets reward points. And that's why for all these years, the members of the House of Prayer have never gotten a hotel discount. Why should we use a coalition that's giving you standard room rates? We're going all around the country throughout the year paying $180, $239 a night fees for hotel lodging. And of course, he's going to keep it as high as he can, because every single member that gets a room under the coalition, those points go to his account. And these are the accounts that he's using those award points to fly so that he don't have to spend any more money. Same thing with some of those around him. They're using those points for rental cars whenever the members don't pay for it. So sometimes he might say, you know what, I'm going to take care of it this time. And people saying, oh, he's so precious, he's so generous, all of this stuff. He's not generous. He's paying for it from the points that he stole by telling the members to use this coalition. Remember that term inurement. Remember that term self-benefit. He's giving orders in the House of Prayer that's benefiting himself. This is illegal. And members, if you don't stop supporting it, the more illegal acts he's going to have, well, he's going to have to give an account for it anyway. But you are not helping, because every time, each time he does it, is more problems adding and stacking up that he's going to have to give an account for. So this is why in court, as we close out, this is why in court they say you have 8 counts of this, 11 counts of that, 4 counts of this, 17 counts of that. It's because each time you commit that one infraction, that one violation, each time you break that one law, that it gets added and tacked on to the penalty that you're going to pay. If you broke that law 4 times, well, then the penalty that you're going to pay for that infraction, for breaking that law, you're going to pay that penalty, however long that penalty is, or however much that fine is, times 4. So if the fine is $550 each time you break that law, well, if you did it 4 times, well, now you have to pay $2,200. It's 550 times 4 times, 4 counts. If you got 5 years for breaking this law, well, you got 4 counts times 5, that's 20 years. And each time the members keep on doing what he's telling them without waking up and stop supporting him, even if you love him and want to show him you love him. Don't do it by following his orders, because his orders are unlawful. Show him that you love him by doing what I'm doing. Help pull him out of this mud, this hole that he's dug himself in. Make his burden lighter. Make his penalties less. Because the day is coming soon that he's going to have to answer for these things. The worst that'll happen here in the House of Prayer is he'll be removed. That's the extent of what we can do inside the organization. When he is removed, well, then all of these problems that the organization is having can easily be fixed and straightened up. And these people will not have to go through these issues anymore. I said I'm going to say this, and that'll be the end of it. I just remembered my train of thought. I get disgusted because we've had individuals who have went to the bishops as well as other leaders, pastors and chairmen for help, who needed help. People who had dumped tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars in the House of Prayer, gave hours, devoted hours of their lives every single day, every single week for several years. And when they couldn't do it anymore, they kicked them to the side. They pushed them to the side. They kicked them to the curb, forgot about them. Many of these members went to them for help, and they sent them to outside resources, other places of worship, for them to help them with food, to help them with living expenses, to help them with utility payments, to help them take care of medical costs or medications. We get to do this. We get to fix this. We get to do this. You cannot be removed fast enough. And like I said before, if I have my way, then the members of the organization, they will see the brightest day that this organization has ever seen. I didn't come here for this. I came here just to expose what you're doing wrong. But all the phone calls I keep getting, and the text messages, and the emails, and the stories, all these things that these people are suffering at the hands of these leaders that you all know nothing about. And same thing with this one. And now for you to prance through the organization as if nothing is wrong, telling people to trust in God, you know full well that members, get ready. And the first thing that would be done away with, Addie's Club, G-Class Convocation, gone. Gone. No more leeching off of these people. They have been a leech, sucking every dime out of your pocket as they possibly can through G-Class and through Love Gift. Love marches, gone. Asking for love gifts on a weekly basis, it's not even a free will offering. These pastors are getting pressured. This is why pastors are having strokes, mental breakdowns, anxiety attacks. Members, you don't see it. Whenever he comes into town, the pastors are suffering the most because of the mental anguish, this unhuman levels of stress. Look across the front. Anyway, this is part 2 of part 5 of number 27. 501c3. This particular portion of the 501c3 covers the purpose and the mission of your nonprofit organization. What is the purpose? What is the mission? What are we doing? And what is it that you get to do? When he says we get to do this, that's another problem, because he keeps talking about what we get to do. We get to do. You don't see him doing a thing. He's not doing this. Y'all doing it. But y'all sit there and listen to him say, we. We know what we doing. He attacking us. He attacking us. We not going down. We going up. All of that is to include you all in his calamity. He is getting ready to be removed. If he doesn't get removed, then the organization is going to pay the heaviest price, because the authorities have been watching and they are going to make a move. And the problem is that all this stuff is not in line with the law. It is an easy fix. But the members have to wake up. You have to study the law. Watch these videos. Tell everyone, get in front of these videos. If not, just watch this one video so that you can understand all these building projects and the stuff going on that none of you making decisions about. These cars that he's buying that the members have to provide the transportation for by spending the money out of the accounts. All of that is illegal. He can't do that. Calling the buses his, calling the houses, the apartments his, housing projects his, putting his name on this stuff. Other leaders, I'm going to come to you with more court documentation. Quite simply, I'm going to continue bringing the receipts. You keep bringing your undivided attention so that you can keep on taking notes while you bring your pen and your notepad. I'll see you in the next video.